We're live? We are
We're
live. Jinx. My kid's been doing that because of
Saying
their
jinx
age.
to you?
Because
Oh,
of
yeah.
their age.
And
Yeah,
do
yeah.
they do gotta buy me soda?
What?
You know, jinx, gotta buy me soda. You didn't do that growing up?
No.
Did you guys do that? Yeah.
What is it? Explain to the people.
Like you say jinx, whoever says jinx first,
Gotta
like,
buy me soda.
gotta buy the other one soda.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
No. Whoever says it first.
The way you
is
said them, I
owed a
thought you
soda.
were speaking Korean or
No,
something.
gotta buy me soda.
Yeah, tell me that's not Korean. Say them again.
Jinx, gotta buy me soda.
Yeah.
I gotta buy me soda.
Bro, that's a restaurant on Keomoku.
That's a Korean barbecue.
Yeah. Anyways, we don't have safe surveys prepared for today, which is basically our intra process, writing offer, selling house, feedback from our clients, adjacent to a Google review.
Yeah.
But I know the ones that were put forth yesterday, and it was that the team is amazing. The team is doing great. There were surveys for Aiden, Kenny, and I believe Mahe. And they said, go to coreteamhawaii.com.
Oh, that's what they said.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
They said, go to coreteamhawaii.com because, you know, the interesting thing, you know how and go to the bottom and fill out the contact form and let's talk about real estate. So you know how when you get into something that you haven't been into, such as buying a car or whatever, you catch the vibes again.
Yeah.
I'm vetting out real estate agents. I know a few in Oregon, but I'm also making an effort to call a few more and have conversations. So I'm a buyer. I'm you. I'm okay. Salem, Oregon real estate agent. Okay, best realtors in Salem. I'm doing all the searches that people would do to find us. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, who's this guy? He actually sell houses. Or let me look up the production. No, 5 in the last 5 years. No, see, internet.
No.
And then there's like, you know, who's this person? Who's this person? Where do you actually live? Oh, you live 2 hours away, but you want to help this client? Nope. And it's so hard. I wish everyone had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish everyone in every like service-based profession had a YouTube channel and everyone could just get like, you gotta have more content so people can know who you are before they pick you.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, when I like meet our clients for the first time,
they
know
you.
everything about me already. And I love it. And it's refreshing because I can just be myself.
Yeah.
You know, and just get into it. And I don't know why more people don't do it.
Well, bless them for not doing it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about dangers in Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
We inside joke. So there was someone saying Hawaii, which is not the way to say it.
Don't say it like that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Dangers. What is it? What? Centipedes, scorpion, even scorpions.
Yeah, but
you ever seen scorpion?
Yeah.
Like bellows.
Maui get choked.
Oh, really?
Maui and Kihei.
Maui has a lot of scorpions, is
Maui
what she said.
Choked scorpions.
Yeah.
Plenty.
Okay.
A lot. But yeah, centipedes, scorpions. But really, I mean, I was talking to
cockroaches are more dangerous than both of those to me.
None of those things are dangerous. I was talking to Kent, Esther and Kent, and he had asked me like, "Do you guys have snakes there?" And I was like, "No, probably the worst thing we have is like centipedes."
Cockroach.
Oh my God, Derek. But yeah, that's dangerous.
It's not dangerous.
Not really. Like
they're not gonna kill you.
You're not gonna go like on a walk and get eaten by an alligator. You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna get stung.
Yeah, we're not Australia or Florida.
I'm just saying it's not. They're dangerous, but it's not. I mean, it's not that dangerous.
Yeah, nor do we have bears.
No bears. We don't even have like
leave us a comment.
Spiders or anything. Like
we don't have black widows.
No.
Leave us a comment. Where are you from and what kind of dangers are there where you are from? Yes, you're right. We do not have many dangerous things. Even our ants are lame.
I mean, the fire ants will
no, you go to Florida and try to check some fire ants.
I never did. I did get attacked by gnats when I went to Florida.
Really?
Remember? I came back and I had like all kind of kakilos on my legs.
No CMs. Oh my bad.
No CMs.
Oh, speaking of Salem, Oregon, there we go.
No CMs. Yeah.
On the Black Widow topic, I feel like Black Widow is something kind of like black mold. Like you don't know that that's the spider you're thinking, but you just treat it as such.
Yeah.
Like black mold, Staphylococcus is the actual strand. You don't know that it's that, but you just say Black Widow. Oh, it's a black spider. Run away. What? Also leave comments. Oh, there was a comment from one of our last lives. I'll go in. He said, oh, shoot. What did he say? I have to go look it up.
Oh, Melissa says, OMG, I watched something at the Bishop Museum's planetarium and Pro Service says Hawaii with a V in their intro. That's fine. You
No,
can
the
say
V
Hawaii,
is okay.
but it's Hawaii or Hawaii, which are
It's
like,
not A-I.
yeah, there's
It's like I-E.
yeah,
Hawaii.
Hawaii. So the V is fine.
Just say Hawaii. Core team Hawaii.
Or yeah, Hawaii.
It's fine.
Yeah. Just not say Hawaii or Hawaii.
A-E. It's the A-E you're trying to
at the end.
avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair point.
So what did you
Oh,
find
what
it?
about our new listing on
that one.
Nemo Street?
Nemo.
Nemo.
It has,
Nemo. What
Yeah.
would you guys call that?
if you were reading in Hawaiian, or like all the street names are in Hawaiian, right? So you would just assume that. But now that Nemo is a household name,
I think Nemo has that on lock, man. I don't
Yeah.
think. Oh, this comes up.
I guess so.
Oh, I have to pay attention to that. Okay. I'm going to bring up our new listing in Makakilo and show you guys on, as Kenji and Mahi would say, Nemo. Here's, I thought about that. So Hawaiian word street names.
Yeah.
If Nemo is a Hawaiian word, I'll
Yeah.
do it. I'll say it. I'll do it. I'll say that. But if it's not actually a Hawaiian word, I'm going Nemo. Full Disney. Pixar.
Disney and Pixar.
Isn't that synonymous? Like-
Nemo translates to plump or large. I feel offended for some reason. Like, how dare you?
Yeah,
But also,
I can see that.
vehe. Okay. To smooth over, to polish. So it, oh, this one's for you. To resemble the smooth skin of a bald head.
Kenji, why
To
are
be
you laughing, bro?
shiningly, yeah. Why'd you laugh before, Kenji?
What you laughing for?
To
Yeah, you
be
bald too, bro.
Shiningly smooth.
Who watched our last video from this Sunday? We got comments. Even Aiden gave us flowers. He said it was one of the best videos.
Yeah. Why?
And some other people's. It's not necessarily the highest performing. It's not necessarily the most comments ever, but the comments that were very like strong.
Awesome.
They're like, this is the best video.
Awesome.
And
I
then
know I watched it the first day it came out, and it got a lot of like views on the first day, but I
Yeah.
didn't like go check out comments and stuff.
and then our solar guy was like, honestly, I only watched half and I didn't watch the rest. So
Well, because he doesn't hang out that side. That's why. He's like,
you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
about Eva Beach.
I'm
type,
curious
that's why.
of what people liked about it.
Melissa says Nemo like Hemo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hemo the sheets.
Yeah, Hemo.
Oh, Hemo
Roscoe,
slippers.
is it easy to buy a rental in Hawaii when from the mainland? I mean, do you mean easy like, is it hard to purchase remotely? Is the process harder because you're not here?
Yeah.
Or what do you mean by that? Or is it like harder?
I typically talk people out of buying and on Oahu, most places. I typically talk people out of buying unless they're looking for a specific like short-term vacation rental in a certain area.
They have 100%
Airbnb.
down payment, all cash.
But the cash flow in Hawaii is just not good.
Yeah.
I
talked about this morning.
There's
on
a harp to withholding. There are deterrents that the numbers just don't work well.
Mhm.
And so it depends on your play. Some people want to.
You want to get a foothold in the market because you plan to retire and come live here later?
Yeah. So like say perfect example, a local person moved away, military, 10 years in. They're like, you know what, we're doing our 10 years, but we have a down payment. We want to buy it because in 10 years, we know it's going to be worse. And in fact, there's a home available on my mom's street or whatever. Buy that house for sure. However, I get the call. I've gotten the call twice recently. People that want to buy like a $250,000 leasehold because they just want something here, and that the numbers just don't make sense. Like, go take your 250, buy something in Ohio or Alabama, cash flow, use that money to take a nice vacation at the Hilton.
Yeah. I know Aiden has that conversation a lot about running like rentals for people to show investors how those numbers actually look, because it's not what a lot of people think it's going to be.
It just doesn't work. Yeah. The numbers don't work great. Yeah. Typically.
Just because my goal would be buy a rental now, then long-term rent, then come move here within 4 to 5 years. Well, those things depend too. Go to the go to the website and fill out the contact form, because we'll talk to you about things like what's your holding power, like how much are you putting down, what is your payment going to be, what's your monthly mortgage plus HOA if that exists on that thing,
Right.
and then how much can that rent for, and can you afford to hold at a loss, and for how long. So those are all things we'd have to talk to you about. So if your goal is to be here, we have clients like Donnie and Taya that were just here. That was their thing too. They bought for a long-term rent and then they to move into.
Right.
So that can work. It just depends. Just depends on your specific scenario. So.
This brings to mind, I remember, be careful who you're talking to as well. I gave bad advice years ago to someone. We both worked at Stanford. She had 1 or 2 properties in Sacramento. So we were working in the Bay Area, Palo Alto. She had 1 or 2 properties in Sacramento, single family, and they were negative cash flow. And everything that I had read and all the bigger pockets and the rich dad, poor dad, and all the stuff that I was a very little baby expert at the time. Actually, not expert at all, I guess. I knew some things, but I also didn't know some things. And I was like, you should just sell them. You should just sell them and reposition. Now, she could have sold and repositioned to something that cash flowed and experienced the COVID market appreciation, but who knows what she would have done with the money. She was like, you know what? I'm only negative so much per month, $500. I'll eat it. And I was like, well, what about CapEx, capital expenditures? What about when a driveway, an air conditioner, a $10,000 thing happens and you're already negative cash flowing every month? Like, why keep them? No, I know it's not, it doesn't make sense, but I just want to keep them. When the COVID market happened, and I think about her even to this day, I'm like, oh, good thing she didn't listen to me. So, because I think she probably bought both around 300, and both probably, I don't know, today are worth around 900 or something.
Damn.
And so she's doing well for having negative cash flow. California is not too different than Hawaii in numbers, in that if you buy a home for your military 3-4 year tour, and if you're negative every month when you leave, it may be that bleeding a little and being negative every month for a few years ends up being one of the best decisions you ever made in your life. It may be. That's called an appreciation play. It just depends. But yeah, if you contact us at the website and you're intentional and ready to have those conversations, we can unpack that and really dig into those numbers for you.
Yeah.
And I feel differently today about making that play for condos than I used to for condos and versus single family. Depends on which townhome community. So there's a lot to think about when you think about those things.
For sure. Brenda Wood, have you noticed the homes at Ko'olina have second and third HOAs now? I've never seen that before. That's pretty common, not just in Ko'olina, in most places that are part of a master association.
What's the third HOA?
I don't know about third HOA.
You know about
I've not seen any third HOAs, but second for sure. Do you mean like HOA costs or HOA like associations or like fees?
Aiden's in the room and he said special assessment.
Yeah,
so
if you mean like
that could be a third fee if there was an assessment.
Sometimes it's an assessment, whether that be for insurance premiums, whether that be for like big projects that they did or replenishing of the reserves after big projects. If you see a third fee, so the 2 fees that you may see or that you pretty much will always see are the maintenance fee. So that's for your immediate, condo complex, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the association, the master association for like Grand Ko'olina, all of Ko'olina.
Right.
Then the third fee, if you see a third fee, that could be, either a assessment that may drop off, an assessment that, depending on the listing, may be able to get paid off at closing by the seller. It's different things. So
I own one in Ko'olina, and we have the 2. We have the Ko'olina, greater Ko'olina, fee, and then we have Ko'olina Kai Golf Estates. That's where I own. Same where I own my primary residence. We have Mililani Town Association, and then we have the community fee. Now, I will say I've considered shedding that property for that reason. But if we vote out of the master policy, then I'm more prone to keep it. So we'll see. I also have a really low interest rate on that home, so that gives me different holding power.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into these decisions.
Yeah.
I have a question from the previous live. What is the lowest income someone should be making to buy a single family home on Oahu? I don't plan to buy, but but something Maui and Oahu recently. I went So they're not planning to come here, but they're just wondering what should you be making. So I thought about that. We had a financial advisor on last week. And I think that's what inspired this question. He talked about the rule of thirds, a third of your income going to your housing expense. So it depends on what level of housing. It's hard for me to answer this person's question because they're talking 1-bedroom condo. They're talking
It's a single family.
Oh yeah, single family home on Oahu.
So
Well, single family is $1 million. If you're going, or say 1.1, if you're going conventional, put 250 down. You have a loan amount, 850. So 850 times with today's interest rates, let's just say 600. So 600 times 8.5. You're somewhere around 5,000 to 5,500, depending on this, if there's association fees. So you should make 15 grand a month.
Yeah.
In that case, that's an easy way to think about it.
So close to 200 grand a year.
Close to 200 grand a year.
If you buy yourself single income
but you're talking gross. So Mahi's at 183 on her calculator, but that's gross. Your mortgage payment, your debtors, they don't care about your gross versus your net.
Yeah.
So I would say you should net 15, which probably means you want to make like 250 a year gross.
Yeah.
Dang. It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But that's what it is. On the same note, similar to the girl in California that I mentioned, and I'm not saying anyone should overextend themselves. Have a thoughtful, long conversation with me, with your financial advisor, all of us. But if you never get into the market, you'll never get into the market, So affordability is low. Affordability sucks. If you don't get in now, you probably not going to get in later unless you change your earning at some, crazy level. But if you are always doing what you were doing before, making 120 grand a year today, and if in 10 years you're making 130 and you didn't buy today, you're gonna have a harder time buying in 10 years. It's just the unfortunate truth of things. Yeah.
Okay. More questions.
All right. More questions.
Tell her.
What's it? We're gas. What's the word? Catfishing. What's it? We got to give a danger.
Oh yeah. Well, we got questions. So.
Okay. All right. I'll think of a danger and then we can.
What do local people think about mainlanders buying and holding raw land on the Big Island? I cannot speak for all local people because there are definitely going to be varying opinions.
There's varying opinions. So on my Instagram, we repurposed some of our content, and there's one which we knew was going to get smoke. And I'm mentioning the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy in this. And so it went viral, local viral on Instagram. And so there's a variety of opinions. There's local Hawaiian uncles like, shut up, dummies, MAGA, make America great again. Trump going put all you dummies in place. There's local uncles like that. There's local uncles and people are like, yeah, and it's still illegally occupied, and you guys suck for being real estate agents. There's a spectrum, and when you say local, you're including the Puerto Rican, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Portuguese, Filipino uncle and auntie who aren't actually of Hawaiian blood quantum, but have opinions because, they're multi-generational here. And so it just really varies.
Yeah,
there's no one answer. But when you say raw land on the Big Island, it's in Hawaii real estate, we always know about these people who bought in 1998, bought a sliver of Big Island land on the hopes that it would appreciate just because it's good to own land, right? And they're not making anymore, at least not at any rate that matters for our lifetime. The Hawaiian volcano hotspot is
actually he literally is making
Lo'ihi, but that don't count. That'd be a million years. But all the time we get listings. Oh, I'm ready to offload my land on the Big Island. I bought it for $7,500 in 1998. It's still worth $7,500. I remember our old broker. I got like a referral, and when it popped up, he goes like this to the screen because it's like a $7,000 listing, and his wife was like, "Stop it! But yeah, so just be careful. Owning land on the Big Island could be a good play, but but a lot of times it isn't. So just, be careful. Think
Jody.
about that.
Okay.
What else we got?
I know. Okay, local kind guy. I like that screen name. I know single family home market is super competitive on Oahu, but does that competition weaken at higher price points? Example, 2 million. Yeah, it does. The buyer pool thins a bit as you go up.
It depends. Yes.
But also depend. Just in generally speaking, yes. The higher the price point, there's just less buyers that can accomplish that.
You know why I was taken back a bit? I think about Mililani Mauka,
Mhm.
and when you look at some of the amazing perimeter, like unique pieces, people collect real estate like art at times, or they just have this dream home. And then you have these places like Mililani Mauka, that's like a more legacy family place at the above 1.4 million range. And I think of this home on Kela Place, maybe the nicest home in all of Mililani Mauka. Pool, perimeter, spacious, 2 million cash.
Mm.
And then recently I was looking because I want a home in Mililani Mauka, a bigger home. And so I was looking at past listings, and some of the closer to 2 million, like really amazing perimeter style homes, they go cash. So are there less buyers? Yes. But if it's a certain thing around 2 million, you might have less people. But remember, since it only takes one.
It's like a 2 million something in Lanikai.
In Lanikai.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect example. Yeah. How competitive do you think that would be?
Very competitive.
Even if it's a teardown.
Yeah. But if you're like, oh, Coconut Grove, Keolu, 2 million, there's just less buyers for that.
Referencing Kailua, so I can bring up the map. Mahi brings up a perfect example. Oh, wait. I already had it up. Okay. In Kailua. And leave us a comment too. Are you guys familiar with Lanikai and all these parts of Kailua? So Lanikai Beach, famous, picturesque, one of the most world famous places to live in Kailua. If you put 2 million there, it'll be a bloodbath. But a $2 million home over here in Keola Hills, probably going to sit. It's probably going to be a tough sell. So it just depends. A $2 million home in Eva Beach that isn't on the ocean, isn't some unique thing. It's just like the biggest part of the suburbs of Ho'akale. Might not sell right away. Is it on a golf course? Is it not? But 2 million with a view in Napali Havale over here. 2 million on Mariners Ridge for the right thing. Might go really fast. So, oh, by the way, I think a video we should do soon is like hidden neighborhoods of Oahu or something. Nah, I don't like give away the juice, but I got a few. Well, the Virginia City named one, and people don't know about these things, Yeah. It'll be a cool video. We have more questions?
We do.
Okay. Well, I want to bring Jody in. Do you want to sit with Jody? Do you want to?
I actually just got a text that I want to handle something. So,
okay, go ahead. All right, I'm going to bring Jody in. I'll bring up your questions. Give us a question before you leave as we transition.
Yes. This one is from Crazy. Bought a unit in Ward.
Crazy.
Well, is it crazy? Because there's an 8. Crazy. Bought a unit in Ward back in 2022 with a low interest rate. We have been visiting 3 times a year and love it. But where you bought? What? Ko'ulu. But it's such a luxury because it's a vacation home and debating whether to sell. Good question. If you do, let me know what it is because I may have a buyer. So.
Oh yeah. How many Ward units did you show the other day? Like 15?
Like 14 or something.
Yeah. Choke plenty. All right. We're going to bring up your questions on my phone, answer them. We have Jody. We have about another 15 minutes or so. So we're going to talk about rates. Rates have been trending down, right? A little bit. Okay. Well, before that, check out our new listing in Makakilo. How you guys? Oh, you haven't been there before. You guys were there before. You saw the picture package, right? Pretty mean, huh? So nice. I'm really proud. Shout outs to the owner for making the investments to make it look so beautiful. It is going to pay off. This home looks amazing. First open house this Sunday. And I just wish this was in Mililani Mauka where my wife wants to be. I would guarantee buy this in Malka. But how much do you think this home will be worth in Malka? 1.8. Yeah. 1.7, 1.8. Yeah. Well, and that yard is big for Malka. Most of the yards in Malka are fairly small, unless you're like on a main road. 2,000 square foot. Yeah. 1.7, 1.8. And we are listed at 1.2 in Makakilo.
Wow.
I can't believe I'm not moving there. Actually. All right. We're almost done clicking through this. Jody's here.
Why aren't you moving there?
My wife she's not a big change person.
Yes.
And look at this garage.
So nice. Oh my God.
Quartz, stainless steel sink, really heavy duty door, these like upgraded light fixtures, these cabinets. Mahi was like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. The garage is so nice. Yeah. So this home is amaze balls. All right. So Jody, I'm gonna pull up your questions while Jody tells us how are rates. I heard they went down.
Minuscule was, I believe, the adjective that was used.
Oh.
Which basically means they stay the same.
Okay. So what's the VA? Tell us.
So VA is like around a 6.125. But see, the thing is a 6.125, okay, but a 6.25, we can give a nice healthy credit.
Okay.
So that's different versus like a 6.25 with no credit.
Can make a big difference. What kind of difference might that make on like a $1 million loan? So someone's buying 1.3, putting 300 down, the loan's $1 million. The credit at 6.25 versus just the rate at 6.1.
Right. So that's
a big ask on the fly.
Yeah, that's a big ask on the fly.
Sorry.
That's like $5,000.
Okay. Yeah.
5,000. So like if your cash to close was going to be 10, now it's only 5.
Okay.
Versus a 6.125 at 0 points. So it did go down to like a 6.125, which is great, but the market is still weary and the market still doesn't want a 6.125 to be a thing.
Where were you getting 5.7 from?
Oh yeah, it's a range. So you can get a 5.75 at 1 point. Because most lenders, remember, they're charging 1 point just off the bat.
So that they can advertise a lower rate.
It's still not lower. So it's still not lower than our 1 point. But so I did want to give Aiden because that was only 1 point.
Yeah.
Like other places, it's probably more like a 6% at 1 point. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
How is the market and all of that been responding to Trump at this point? And because I do a good job of not letting politics affect my life. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me sad. But a lot of unusual, like unconventional steps,
Yeah. I think a lot of people are truly on the fence.
Okay.
Like they truly are waiting to see how crazy things get. And I think that people are in a pause. So they're still looking. We're still getting numbers requests. We're still we still have interest.
Okay.
But a lot of buyers are not submitting offers because these are more risk averse buyers that really want to make sure that they're not going to get laid off. I mean, they want to make sure that they're not going to, that they're going to be able to afford a mortgage they're committing to. And so maybe they had planned to be submitting offers in like February, March, but they're like, okay, we're still going to look, but we kind of want to see how things are going to play out.
And then on the other side of that coin is if you don't, is the FOMO. Do you not buy now and wait and maybe save up some and see about your job, but then does the market run away from you?
Right.
I'm experiencing that. I'm trying to buy a Milani Malka. I've written some offers on some things, and the very first one in July, I should have just went over the top,
Yeah.
sledgehammer, gave the other agent all my commission and went for it.
And we talked about that.
That thing was such a deal, and the agent sold it undervalued. The family who got it got a crazy deal. They could sell it. They bought it for 1.2. They could probably sell it for, do a little bit of fixing. They could sell it for 1.4, I think. I've been negotiating on another one. I offered 1.35, and then it went into escrow over 1.4. Now that they had to wait, like over a month to get that offer, but supposedly they're in escrow over 1.4. I wasn't willing to give it to them. I didn't feel good about it. I still feel okay right now, not having done that deal. However, if in 1 year I'm sitting and the rates are down, stabilized at 5%, that 1.4 would have maybe looked like a great deal. And even though I didn't love the house, maybe I should have bought it, because that home might be selling for 1.55 in 18 months. Maybe. Just depends on what rates do and what the market does.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other side of that. Like, we can be conservative and a little more sheepish with you, and we can help you underwrite that, or we can underwrite the other way and you can make your best decision. But
I also feel like people are canceling a lot more.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're seeing?
And that's kind of what we did see before, when I guess the last time it slowed, it was slow, and then it kind of picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like it kind of slowed down again.
Do you think that has anything to do with the winterality of things, that people are canceling because they're like, yeah, but then come like March, April, May, June, they have more FOMO, like, I better not cancel because the market's moving in a certain direction. It's hot.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, I guess maybe it's not as necessary or urgent, the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so because they're like, well, we do like the house and it's a little bit ahead of our timeline, and then something will come up and they'll be like, okay, we're going to cancel.
Yeah.
And so then it's because they have a little bit more time. They have a longer runway to be able to make sure they get that property.
I can see that. Yeah. I kind of feel like that. I can tire kick a little right now, but if this were like May and I really like the home, I'd be afraid to lose it. They'd be like, $1,000 plumbing repair, I'd be like, all right, I'll just fix it myself. I'm not going to negotiate on it, right?
Yep.
We got some questions. Marissa Trent. Oh, what's up, Marissa? Hi, friends. What's dangerous? Wasps in Mililani. Apparently, your neighbor's dog's in Mililani too, huh, Marissa? You know Marissa. You remember Marissa?
Yeah. Hi, Marissa.
Bosco, mahalo guys for the answer. Reaching out from Utah. How's it my fave Hawaii people? Oh, how's it my favorite Hawaii people? What part of the island has the best all-around weather? Debatable. Eva, hot and dry as always. Kaneohe, wet always. Is there a good in between? What would you say?
It's not wet always. It's not. Oh, I live there. I know.
She reps hard for Kaneohe.
I do, because I have a morning sprinkle.
If you don't pressure wash your concrete, how long before mildew again?
We do it quarterly.
See, so she don't notice the rain. She don't notice the rain with her. Yeah.
But no, it doesn't. It's not wet always. Like, I mean, I'm out there, training, doing soccer with my kids every day. So
I know, yeah.
It has to be dry. I mean, to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, I would say Eva's way more dry than Kaneohe is wet.
That's fair. How you feel about that, Kench?
For sure.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. That's a good, I like that. Eva's more dry than Kaneohe is wet. That's true. But the thing is I feel like on average,
it just rains in the morning and the night, really. So like in the day.
So if you work, it rains all the time you're home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like people who move to Eva get acclimated, get used to the heat. That's just what it is. And you're bothered more by rain. So people, when it rains, they're like inconvenienced more.
Yeah.
So I feel like
to me, it's a sprinkle. It's a short-lived sprinkle.
you sure you're not a
Sorry,
realtor
sorry.
instead of a loan officer?
Unless it's a storm.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's a storm, those are bad. And it's bad. It's a lot.
Aiden, what do you think best in between climate on the neighborhood? I think
Mililani is up there.
Makakilo is up there. 'Cause
Makakilo for sure.
it's drier, but then you're cooler. Kunia. These places are still hotter. He's saying Pearl City.
Aiea.
Kailua.
Kailua.
Doesn't rain as much as Kaneohe. Kailua might have the best weather.
I would have to say Kailua Aiea.
Yeah. Hawaii Kai gets pretty dry and hot, especially Kalama Valley side.
Yep.
But if you go into one of the valleys in Hawaii Kai, like Hahaione, then it's a little shadier. It's a little cooler. Kuli'o'o. There's
a lot.
What about Manoa?
Manoa's wet.
Manoa is wet, but then it's a little cooler. Yeah, good question. I appreciate it. All right, what's next? Local kind guy, huh?
You guys skipped my question.
Dancho. Oh, I skipped Dan. Oh, see, you know why? I had Dan queued up and you told me Marissa.
Oh, my bad.
That was Kenji, Dan. Would investing in condos to rent to families in Mililani Mauka be much safer for cash flow than vacation rentals? I would say no. Do you want, like, let's say you live in Ko'olina or you own a place in Ko'olina. You could get the 12-month renter who will rent for $4,000 a month, or you can manage the whole monthly rental thing and make like $6,000 a month. But that comes with more vacancies. And so is 6 really 6? Or even if it's 7, you're, or 8,000, but then there's Airbnb fees and then TVU tax and then vacancies. So do you want the stability of a long-term renter?
And work.
And work. Yeah, my wife and I only book like 10 people a year and we get annoyed. But people always breaking the freezer. There's always something. This one guy, like they stayed an extra day. Like we get over there and they're like, oh yeah, we stayed an extra day. Punch your face. But yeah, local kind guy. I when I'm comparing it to Mililani Mauka, the thing is you don't have the option to cash flow higher. You still have the liability that is the HOA, and you really need to contact us. I'll probably have Aiden help you because you got to look at who holds the master insurance policy. Who are they getting their insurance from? What does the reserve study look like? It would depend on which HOA in Mililani Mauka, because there's the infamous one, North Point in Mililani Mauka. They were at like a $649 per month for a 3-bedroom and then jumped to $1,150, I think, in one fell swoop. Boom. And so if you owned that and you're paying attention to monthly cash flow, you just like got a stake to the heart, right? And I don't see North Point appreciating at the rate of, say, a Ko'olina. So, all right, local kind guy from San Diego: fires, earthquakes, drought, dangers. Yeah, we're looking Kailua, not Lani Kai, Hawaii Kai, or Aina Haina Pupukea. Local kind guy, hit us up. Pupukea is one of those hidden neighborhoods too. Yeah. Yeah. What about Keolu Hills? Kinoko. Hit the like button, everybody. 70 people, but only 9 likes. Hey, thanks for representing. Hit the like button. You know what? I don't subscribe to many channels. I don't always hit like and stuff, but we appreciate it when you do. And I will do it. If I connect with someone and they ask, or they just really give me a ton of value, I hit it. Maudri, I don't like hilly. So this is a local kind guy referring to Keolu Hills, which Jody actually grew up in the area. Mm-hmm. I have young kids and I want them to be able to play in the streets.
So go to the other side of Enchanted Lakes.
In Enchanted Lakes, like in the flat side?
I mean, Keolu Hills is an Enchanted Lake.
You call it Enchanted Lakes?
Oh, yes.
Is that local people?
Yes.
I call it Keolu Hills.
Oh, sorry.
No, but you're right. You're from there. So
so Enchanted Lakes would be all of that. Like all of Keolu Hills, all the way to Ka'elepulu. Really? That's like Enchanted Lakes for us.
I'm looking at Aiden and Kenji. You guys don't know Ka'elepulu.
You West Siders don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So I mean, the other side is totally flat
Yeah.
and access to tons of parks.
That's the
and-
part I consider Enchanted Lakes because you're actually amongst the water. Keolu Hills in the back up. That's far.
That's just part of Enchanted Lake.
It's just part of it?
Yeah. It's just right
Oh.
there.
So
Like,
all the
it's-
local Kailua people, they don't say Keolu.
No one says Keolu Hills.
Really?
Everyone says
Just
I live in Enchanted
realtors.
Lakes.
Realtors do.
Okay, no, yeah, just realtors. I'm
Even
saying,
even Kailua, like I specialize in Kailua. They will say Keolu Hill.
yeah, because they think it's more uppity.
Nah, Enchanted Lakeside. What I consider Enchanted Lakeside is actually nicer on average.
Oh,
in my
really?
opinion, yeah.
So
flat
me
part.
growing up, Keolu Hills was like the
Really?
uh-huh.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Keolu Hills was like the they live in
It
they live
depends what
there.
part.
Which we never said they live Keolu Hills. It was
Well, there's also the Hillcrest area of Keolu Hills.
Mhm.
That's
not
nice.
that. I'm not talking about that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
yeah.
that's not Enchanted Lakes.
That's not.
No,
What is that then?
that's Hillcrest. That's just they're their own.
No, so then Kailuans told me, bro, nobody says Hillcrest. That's
Yeah,
just Keolu.
No, that's not Keolu.
See, you got Kailua people.
That's just Kailua.
Shout outs to Stefan and Didi. Shout outs to Stefan and Didi. That was a fun escrow, by the way. I love Wahiawa weather.
I
Yeah.
love Wahiawa.
It's debatable. Wahiawa is really cool. You see chimneys, but then it's also wetter.
Yeah, it's wetter.
Yeah, it's wetter.
But it's not like Kaneohe. It's more like Manoa.
Yeah. I might be moving to Honolulu soon. My sister said I should watch your content while I was watching one of your videos. Yeah,
Aw.
thanks. Dan Cho, so sad, just playing. Jifka, living in town. I have zero complaints about the weather. Yeah, I mean, town's just normal weather. Not too rainy, not too. Kinoko, just got back from picking up some $5 bentos.
Oh,
Dan Cho got
from the
ahead.
bento box.
I wonder. $5
That's
a cheap
the bento box. Like, have you seen that?
No.
It's literally like called the bento box, and it's like $5. And
Where?
it's all numerous little locations.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
$5. How you making money?
I don't know.
All rice. Sarah Johnson, any updates with condo building insurance issues as it relates to being a roadblock? Aiden, you want to chime in? No, not you can't chime in from there.
I'll chime in.
Aiden doesn't love the camera time, but he's I gotta run out. Aiden, you're like, come on.
Come.
Jody needs you. There you go. All right, guys. Aiden knows it. I'm the team leader, ton of experience, whatever. Aiden knows this better than I do. You remember when Henry Ford, they asked him, are you a smart man? And he said, I have an Aiden. Well, here you go. And I have a Jody.
Looking at the questions?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
Morning.
Condo insurance.
Issues. My thought is that VA is a lot easier than conventional when it
Oh.
comes to those issues. Because VA is you're either good or you're not good. And looking at
Until they start looking
right. But
further.
if they don't look any further, it's usually just a yes or no.
100%.
And that could get you in some really rough waters when it comes to VA.
Right.
So vetting out those sorts of things. Hurricane insurance, there are some lenders that allow for lending without full hurricane. What is the other one? Deductibles. Deductible
But I will
amounts.
say, speaking to the hurricane, that many of them come this past January, they have transitioned to full coverage. So that's why we saw a lot of increased HOAs, and a lot
Yes.
of buildings that were previously not okay are now okay, because they have made that transition.
Mhm.
And that's why we have to check every single time, even though we just checked 3 weeks ago. We still have to check, because literally those policies can be changed
Mhm.
whenever.
But then too, with the policy changes, if say there's two buildings, both buildings are identical, one had full hurricane coverage, the other one didn't, or had lacking insurance policies, and one did have everything okay. Both those premiums, when they adjust for the new year, is higher than what last year was. So now the building has to expend more to keep the same coverages. And if they opted for the full insurance, that annual premium skyrockets. And then who gets levied that charge gets trickled down to the HOA. And then you'll see those double digit increases. You can see the 12, 15, all the way up to 80 I've seen. So vetting those before you get into escrow, asking certain questions, finding out who holds the policies, how are the deductibles paid out if some water damage would happen, are hurricane policies up to date, all those things you want to check.
And the big deductible conversation is going to be per unit or per occurrence. And we want
per occurrence,
Yes.
not per unit.
yes.
Cool. Let's see the next one. I'm gonna say that Hawaii.
Is Ala Moana area better than Waikiki because just outside all the hustle, but close enough in your opinion? Ala Moana versus
For what
Waikiki.
purpose?
Yeah.
But I would say, heck yes. Waikiki is
Yeah, Waikiki is huge hustle and bustle. Ala Moana, at least Ala Moana shuts down during the night. So there's really a lot less things to do.
Ala Moana is more expensive. So if you're, I don't know, I don't know what the budget is or price point, but I think almost anyone would prefer Ala Moana over Waikiki. However, it's way more expensive.
Check out 1350 Ala Moana Boulevard.
Yes,
It's a very cute building.
it is. And they are financially sound. My one of my really good workout friends, it's funny, friend, she came to my wedding. She's still in my life, but she owns in there and she's like 70. She's like
loves
my
it.
workout friend. Yeah. She lives in there.
Working out keeps you young.
Yes.
It's the best anti-aging drug, or not drug. Local Kind Guy says, if we leave W-2 jobs to start a business, will we have a hard time qualifying for a loan during a 1031?
Yes.
Yes. Because with the
Yes and no. Because it's 1031.
Oh, so you could, if you have a previous history of getting rental income, which if he's doing a 1031, he probably has, you could use that rental income as part of his actual income.
Correct.
And then along with the funds coming in from the 1031, you would offset that
Debt service ratio?
debt service ratio. Or you could do a DSCR loan,
Right.
but it'd be a higher interest rate.
Right. But I just did one. Okay. So if your net proceeds are going to be pretty high, and you're going to be doing a hefty down payment, depending on what your replacement property price point is in comparison to your relinquished property. However, yeah, I just did one 7%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it
That's
was
not bad.
That's great.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
no, yeah, that's really
freaking
great.
fabulous for investment property.
Mhm.
And he was putting almost 50% down.
Oh, okay.
So, and back to like the more conventional qualified mortgage versus a DSCR, it's going to be, we will be able to use the rental income to offset the mortgage payment. But if you have a whole bunch of other debt and you own a whole bunch of other properties and this, that, and the other, you'll probably still have a difficulty doing a conventional loan. So it most likely you would just do a DSCR.
DSCR, because you're starting that business.
And so starting, just to be clear, no income is going to be
Recorded
utilized from your new self-employed
income.
job. Yeah. So even if you're like, I worked with someone that was making like $1 million. Like he showed me his profit and loss and he had already grossed like $1 million. And I was like, we can't use it. And he was like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And I said, no, I get it. I understand what you're saying. No,
6 months?
it had been like 6 months and he had $1 million gross.
So say, because usually it's 2 years average, right? Is there a possibility you could do like 1 year and just use like bank statements, but I guess the interest rate would be higher?
The interest rate would be higher. And there is a way that if you have at least 1 year of filed returns and you're in the same line of work as your W-2 position, we can use the income.
Carry it over.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but like, let's say you were making like 100,000 as a W-2 employee and now you're making like 300,000, we'll take the average.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Jifka? What's the typical timeline from accepting an offer to closing? Recently, we had a frustrating experience selling in New York, mostly because of attorneys not communicating. Certain places you can use attorney, or you can use attorney here if you want to. Typical timeline for a closing, 30 to 45 days. Typically, we can do it on the front half, but in some cases, we'll have to extend to about 40 days, 45 at the max. And unless there's nothing wrong with title or we order the appraisal really late and we get condo docs on time, depending on what type of property you're buying, 30 to 45 days is most certainly achievable.
Yep. And we have escrow here. So they're going to be the non-biased third-party middleman company. And because we have them, we don't have to deal with attorneys. Of course, you can hire your own real estate attorney if you want documents to be reviewed, title work to be reviewed, contract to be reviewed, condo you can have your own attorney, but we don't have attorneys that are like involved. And we have the third party escrow company, which makes it way more seamless.
You can think of the purchase contract and the documents binding buyer and seller together like the rule book that buyer and seller create. And then once it's fully executed, that rule book is sent to escrow and they're kind of like the referee, making sure everything is going as planned. Aloha State of Mind. I said Ala Moana area, but actually meant Holiday Mart area. More better than Waikiki.
I would say yes. It's a little rough in that area, but I would say yes.
What are you looking
to buy?
Yeah, what are you looking to buy? Why are you looking in those areas? What kind of life do you want to achieve? Whatever's. You familiar with the Ulana Ward project? How are you feeling about someone moving with current mortgage rates? I don't do a lot of Ward. Mahe is the fantastic one on the team who's really up to date on all the buildings there. But just speaking generally, what are you feeling like with current mortgage rates? As a general question, it's historically, if you look over like a 40-year average, we're very, very low. But if you look on a 5-year average, we're very, very high. But you've seen what happens back when mortgage rates were really, really low, what happened to prices, right? If you buy in now and mortgage rates do decline, the odds of you pulling in equity because other people are offloading investments, pushing property value up, more buyers entering the market, I think you'd be in a great spot. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future.
We don't know when the rates are going to go down, basically. So there's a long play, and I feel good about someone that feels confident in a 6-year hold. It doesn't mean I don't feel good about someone that's confident at 3-year hold, but 6 makes it way easier to win.
And depending on what type of property you buy too, what type of area you're buying in, what other hedges does that market have? Does it have a good school district? What's the area known for in terms of community amenities? What's it nearby? Those things can help offset where you're going to be, and also what the turnover rate is for that area. Is it turning over a lot? Is it an 8-10% turnover rate, or is it a 1% turnover rate? So all of those things you want to combine, but the longer you hold the real estate, the more confident we are in that property going up in value.
Yep.
FYI, we didn't even get a firm closing date until 1 week before. And in New York, attorneys are required. Live and learn.
Yeah. It's hard with the attorneys. I mean, all the mainland people that we work with that had sales, and many of them, it is a requirement to have the attorneys. It's a mess. Like,
Really?
I don't know why they do it that way, because no offense to attorneys, but I really feel like when they get involved, things get super complicated.
Derek always says, show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. Attorneys are probably billing you by the hour, so them doing work more efficiently isn't going to make them as much money. Thanks for sharing and providing. No, we
need more
we don't.
Aiden.
Yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, but if you guys have any more questions, drop them in. What is the average annual value increase in Honolulu condos, let's say over 10 years? What is the value? From 2013, I don't have this specific on condo market. What's it called? But from 2013 to 2023, Oahu as a whole, so averaging all fee simple, you own the land, single family townhome and condos, market has gone up average 60% in those 10 years. If you want to divide that by 10, it's 6% a year. That's very interesting because it's also accounting for the COVID hit too, the skyrocket 2% interest rates. I like to underwrite it at 4% for single family, 3% for condos and townhomes.
That's very, I mean, I think that if you're underwriting it there and you can see the proper ROI or the ROI that you need to feel comfortable, then that's totally safe.
Because
like 3% and 4%.
Yeah.
I typically use 4%.
4%?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to be more conservative than not in my writing.
Yes.
My underwriting.
Yes.
But when you do buy a property here, say if you're going to rent it out, you're going to most likely rent at a negative. But what you're really hedging on is at the time that you sell the property, you're going to recoup all the rental losses and then some.
Right. More. Way
Hopefully.
more.
Yeah. Depending on how long you hold it for. We had a client that bought, they are negative cash flow right now, but they're planning to live in it in 5 years. So that's their hedge. They're actually renting in town right now.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely talk heavily about having a negative cash flow because it's Hawaii. I mean, that's just, unless you're putting a massive down payment, you most likely are going to have a negative cash flow. And if you're VA, which we help a lot of VA buyers, you're putting zero down. You can't put zero down and then expect a cash flow, right? So we need to spend a lot of time looking at potential rent, average rent appreciation over the amount of time that they know they're going to be here, and kind of do some extrapolating and then make sure that they feel good about it.
So with condos, it's really hard because the HOA tends to be a lot higher on average than the same square footage in a townhome. So when I'm underwriting townhomes at about $500 and $600 HOAs, you probably have to put down about 65% down in order to break even on that property. I'm not including taxes, CapEx and stuff like that yet.
And that's with prevailing rates. Yeah. So a lot of people that we're talking to, like, so, I've been doing this for 20 years. And so a lot of people are coming back and it might be their second cycle or their third cycle. And so when we're sharing these numbers with them, they're like, why is it so different than last time? And it's like, well, it's a different interest rate.
Right.
So that's why the 60%, I mean, it's a lot.
But with single family homes, you can underwrite that down payment percentage as lower, but it is a higher number, right? Because townhomes versus single family, they're hugely different in terms of price. But the good thing with the single family play is that you don't have that HOA.
Right.
So you don't have a maintenance fee that's going to increase at a 4 to 7% year over year. So if you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, that's how much you're going to pay. You might have a small $49, $70 association fee. But playing that, you can at least know for certain, as long as you don't offload that property, refinance, pull out a line of credit on that property, that payment's going to stay the same. And rents in 10 years from now is probably going to be higher. So you're really playing that appreciation play when you're going into the rental market here. The amount of cash that you have to deploy into a property to break even, I don't think just makes sense for everyone unless you plan to, hey, I want to just put my foot in the market. I know I'm going to move here in a couple of years and I'm willing to put that cash in. Then let's have the conversation. John, we like 1350 Alamoana. Oh yeah. See,
What are we talking about, ILH?
is it better to wait to buy in Kaka'ako if you're 2 to 3 years out, since there are a lot more condo developments coming nearby? Maybe older buildings will become lower in price due to more supply. Could be, yes. Similar situation like DR Horton, right? They're going to be developing in Evo for 20 years or so. But depending on what finances look like, holding power, 2 to 3 years out, show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. If you buy a property, I'll make a check. So if you want to purchase that 2 to 3 years out, if it makes sense for you, you should. But talk to us first. Let's underwrite the numbers.
But it is to me, I mean, buying sooner is almost always going to be better.
Yeah.
Like that's just the whole thing about average appreciation
Mhm.
and what is your money going to be doing if you don't invest it here? Where is it going to be invested? What is the other potential yield on your funds? And then being able to rent it perhaps up until the point so you do have coverage.
Offsetting some of that expenses.
Yes.
And two, stocks, if you buy into a stock, the amount of money you're going to make is relative to the amount of money you have in that stock. Whereas real estate, you can do a 0 down loan with a VA and make infinite returns because the appreciation is based on the purchase price, not the amount of money you have in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing to think about.
And
rates.
The expectation is that rates will go down. So that's another thing, is that rates will go down in the future, and then prices will go up even more than the average annual appreciation rate. And therefore, you're going to be winning.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting number to think of, is what you're buying for today, the interest you're going to pay versus you waiting 4 years from now. Rates are much lower, hypothetically, but how much more are you purchasing? And how much different is that mortgage actually?
Yeah.
And how much appreciation would have you reaped if you had bought prior to?
And so there's a lot of assumptions in that type of analysis. And that's why, I mean, when we're talking to our buyers, we do go in pretty deep with the analysis, but there has to be also assumed, there's assumptions there. Our buyers, we have to make sure that they're comfortable with these types of assumptions that we're making, and that they understand that these are assumptions and there's no way to know what's going to happen or when the rates are going to go down or how much they're going to go down.
Right. So you shouldn't buy a property expecting that your mortgage will decrease in the future. You should buy the property expecting to pay that amount until you offload it or it's paid off. And that's why, although we can speculate as much as we want to make sure that what's more important is your situation, your scenario, job security, hold time, and then thinking about moving away, how much you're going to lose on the rent. What are we thinking of appreciation? So although we can assume everything, what the future might hold, we need to make sure it's right for your scenario first. John Nunez.
Just check out.
Oh.
Where?
He's kind of up.
Oh, just checked out 1350 Ala Moana. Awesome locale. Rental price is fitting, but I saw some wildly varying prices. And there are the monthly HOA, and I was like, whoa. Yes. So what do HOAs cover? Master insurance policy. You have all the amenities that go along with that HOA. You have amenities could include pool, sauna, workout room, tennis courts, basketball courts. There's CapEx for parking structures, repaving, spalding, plumbing, electrical. How many elevators are there? How many things that the HOA that's outside of your four walls that they have to maintain? And then 3 is the age of the building. The more older something is, the more CapEx you're going to have to put into it. So if you have an older building with a lot of amenities, and a lot of capex, you're going to be paying more in HOA than a newer building with the same amount of amenities. That's, you just don't have to do anything for a little while. So yes, and then varying in prices. Take a look at parking stalls, floor number, and view. Those three things are going to be the biggest varying in prices when it comes to buying a condo. Looking at bedroom bathroom count isn't really, like, if you see two bedrooms on market, you can really get a good feel for the price. But the things that are going to really stick out are, I guess, updates to the unit, parking stalls, views, and floor number.
Mhm.
Yeah, a follow-up to a little bit lower down. Johnny is the price difference.
Price difference between the 10th and 11th floor for one less bedroom was over 2.5 times the difference. Crazy. Okay.
That sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy.
That-
They might have just listed it way over value, or the listing agent might have just signed that document saying, let me just get this listing.
Yeah.
Or they might have been skilled and said, hey, we'll take the listing at the price that you want, but in 2 weeks, let's reassess. How many showings did we get? Did we get any offers? What's the feedback look like? And if nothing happens in those 2 weeks, let's change the price to what I'm thinking more of based on what's here in the building, what has sold most recently.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's typical or reasonable.
Mhm.
That's not a typical or reasonable expectation unless one is as originally built, no upgrades, and the other one is like top of the line, like everything.
Parking
And
stalls.
Yeah, and maybe they do have an extra price. So I mean, I've seen weird instances when it's actually 2 units
Oh.
and they like broke through the wall.
Mhm.
And so it's actually 2 units, which is very difficult to get a conventional loan on. But they're marketing it as one. They're just saying it's this one, this unit number.
Because it's 2 TMKs, right?
Mhm. It's nearly impossible.
So how would that work for a loan? Is that because it's 2 TMKs, do you have to file 2 different loans?
So that's how we historically handled it.
Mhm.
Is we pretty much I contacted the seller's agent and I was like, they want to do it, they can qualify, but you're trying to sell 2 properties, 2 TMKs under one contract.
Mhm.
So can you and I kind of like said, this is how it's going to work from the loan side of things. So she did it that way.
Mm.
Yeah. And we did 2 contracts, 2
Mm.
escrows, 2 contracts, 2 transactions.
The only other way to do that would be redoing title, making it under 1 TMK, or at least doing like a CPR.
I don't even
sort of
think that's
situation.
possible
'cause
for
it's
a
already in?
condo.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because you can do that with single family.
Single family, of
Right?
course.
You can CPR it, make title 1 or 0000001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So condos are different.
We are watching the spawning of a new show. What is the spawning of the new show?
It's more serious.
Thanks for your time. Yes, for sure. Aiden and Jody hour. Yes. Exactly what I was thinking. Actually, I was going to call it the AJ hour. Yeah, let's do it.
Ooh.
Yup. All righty. Well, I have to get to a few clients. If you have any last questions, shoot them in now or. Okay. Last question. Theoretically, in theory, you have a $400,000 mortgage and years down the road, you can refinance lower.
Mhm.
What will it cost to refinance for the size of the loan? Well, how much principal are you paying off? We're at mortgage rates today, 400,000. You've probably got
It's just ballpark 8K.
ballpark 8K. There you go.
That's your answer. But that's including, I mean, if I wanted to be less transparent, I could easily say, oh, the closing cost will be around 4,000, right? But then aside from that, which is just your typical underwriting, title, escrow, appraisal, you also have to prepay your property taxes and your insurance and then daily interest. So I would say, 7,000 to 8,000.
But those costs are kind of front loaded because you will be expending the 3,000 to 4,000 through property taxes. Oh, I
Right.
guess in escrow is going to be immediate.
Right. So
You're
I
kind of
mean, those are
prepaying some
those are
stuff.
costs you're going to have no matter what.
Mhm.
So that's why they're separated out. There's closing costs and then there's prepaid and reserve items. But the overall increase to the loan will be about 7,000 to 8,000. And that's another point that a lot of people don't know is that it's actually you don't have to come to the table with that funds. With those funds, you don't have to pay 7,000 out of pocket to do the refi. You just include it in the loan. But that does mean that
Oh.
your balance is going to increase by 7,000 to 8,000,
Mhm.
which
But years down the line, you would have paid that off, right? So
Right.
you would be lower than 400.
right.
Eden is OIA and Jody is ILH. What is ILH?
What is ILH?
Oh, my bad. My bad. What is that?
It's Interscholastic League of Honolulu. So it's like public versus private.
I see. I see. Yeah. Public school education versus private school education. It's very different. All right, cool. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for the questions. And I will hope to be talking with some of you folks, underwriting some deals, and have a good rest of your day.